Hello, I'm Jan, and today I'm going to introduce you to painting ice creams before they melt. I've got some from the supermarket, just a normal ice cream. I'm going to put them on an ice block so that they don't melt, but to paint them, I'm going to put a flat surface there. This wonderful shop display inspired me to paint some ice creams. It's not very often where I live that you see them without the wrappers on, but it's definitely a visual feast. I tried taking these out of the freezer and putting them on a glass tray, only to find they slid about, so I ended up putting them on kitchen rolls so that I could take a photograph and sketch them very quickly. I've placed these underneath an overhead light, which in this case is a cooker hood light, so that I get interesting shadows. You could put them near a windowsill. And my next lolly is bright orange, but you could make it any colour you like. Because of the angle this one is, you can see the sides of the lolly as well in certain places, and there will be some reflections. But this example is just cartridge paper, so there's a limit to how far I can take the paint. The next one is chocolate with nuts. Because it's got nuts stuck to it, it's not an even surface or an even shape. I'm using a dark brown, and I've made it even darker by adding some French ultramarine. If you've got a paint box, most of the browns will be warm or cool, and it's very easy to adjust them slightly by adding a little bit of blue or black just to warm it up a little or make it cooler. Some yellow ochre, and just Venetian red, just a little bit, and add a few little bits of nut. And I'm now going to make a dark chocolate ice cream. You don't need to add too many to give the point. Let that dry. And here I've got burnt sienna, raw umber and Payne's grey. I've got the stick going in here with just yellow ochre and a little bit of crimson at the top. Now I'm going to try and put some nuts on the dark chocolate one, which is a bit of a challenge. I think they're actually lighter. They come out as lighter because they're not so covered in the chocolate and they're sticking up. Because the light's overhead, there will be shadow on the side of the ice cream. I've completed the lollies on a stick, but I'm now going to show you how to do a cone with the help of some willing volunteers. This turned out to be a bit of a challenge because they were dripping quite quickly. Now, these are shop bought ice creams from an ice cream parlour, and they've got lovely pattern on the biscuit. There's a different one, bigger sections. And the third one is very drippy. But the ice cream isn't necessarily pure white, it's just slightly creamy. So you've got to get the contrast between the ice cream and the cone. And then the drips can be put on with shadows. There are different techniques of eating them. I've moved down to a smaller brush. I started with a number 8. I've now gone down to a number 2. I'm just going to try and sort out some of these drips. And if you're struggling to make the difference, this one here is more ice cream dripping than there is cone showing. Don't touch the ice cream, but touch the darker area. 2 different areas. This one has got more distinctive mould marks. I'm sure it tastes equally good. So you can see that the rate they're dripping and the style of licking the top has made a difference, but they all look like ice creams. I think this must be a different flavour of ice cream because it's more yellow. But the joy of painting is that the subtle differences show up. So have a go. I think it's actually better to have them lying flat than to ask friends and family to hold them. As it's interesting that the ice cream on the left has picked up more reflected sunlight as the ladies licked it all the way around, where these haven't. And they're also closer to their mouths, so there's less reflected light. But this one's out in the open. So it's an interesting experiment to tell your models how to hold it if you're that brave.